from his own Cleveland 20. It's the snap, four-man rush, second down, 9 from behind. Ball knocked away, Highsmith. It's picked up by Watt from the 15 to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown! Pittsburgh touchdown! T.J. Watt! Mahomes looking, right side, throws, end zone, touchdown! Travis Kelce! Patrick Mahomes with a strike, and he delivers. 14-yard score. The Chiefs add to their lead. Shotgun snap, Brock Purdy airing it out. Deep for Debo in the end zone. Makes the catch on the right side of the end zone for the touchdown. 27 yards to Debo Samuel. And San Francisco may have just put it away.
Tagovailoa in the gun, takes the snap, back to pass, looking, going deep down the right side for Hill. Makes the catch, loses the defense, and he is gone. Down the right sideline. Touchdown Miami. Second big play tonight for Hill.
Long pass. It lands at the 20. No one is there. Zeros on the clock. It's over. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57.
Every primetime game.
Whatever it takes.
All season long.
The only thing matters is a win. That's it.
The road to Super Bowl 58 is on Westwood One.
Let's go, man.
Now it's time for Monday Night Football.
For Let's Go on NFL Radio Channel 88 and listen whenever you want with the SXM app.
Filled with ad-free music made for everything you do, mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
You deserve the best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritized customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I think so. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, I think so.
Did you know SiriusXM has over 100 extra channels on the SXM app, filled with ad-free music made for everything you do? Mashup channels, workout channels, channels for parties, or just chilling out and more. Expertly curated for any mood, occasion, or activity. Extra channels let you discover new music and enjoy even more variety from every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
With traditional radio, you could be putting up with 10, 15, even 20 minutes of interruptions every hour. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly and activate your radio. Say goodbye to commutes spent constantly flipping through the dial trying to avoid commercials, and say hello to commercial-free music from nearly every genre, available nationwide. Become a SiriusXM subscriber today. Visit www.SiriusXM.com/go to sign up online quickly or call 844-711-8800 now. Tune in a world of music discovery and tune out annoying commercials.
SiriusXM Video lets you watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
It's
hits one. As it was, is it as simple as we think it is?
It's probably the most representative of where I was at in my life when I put something out.
The world needs Beyonce and Lizzo together. Like, Beyonce has all the control in that dynamic. It's about damn time.
Hear intimate, exclusive interviews anytime and anywhere.
Just search Hits 1 on the SXM app.
Included with all trials and popular plans.
To hear Hits 1, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or head to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Rondo Deportes, bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Jonathan of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe for me and people who love the universe. Well, it's October. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I'm always trying to bring the neighborhood together. Some people just don't like it. It's 3 in the morning. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers. Hopefully all new Cadillac Escalade is standard in the world. Go by and test drive yours. Tell them to shit you with the good Lord split you on a beautiful October the 2nd. In 2023, that means we're getting pretty close to Christmas. Let's see, this October, there's November, and then there's December. Yeah, I knew I could count. Get that some praise. Almost to 2024. You can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 29 podcast applications all across the universe. Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Amazon Podcast. TuneIn Podcast is a new one that came on last month. Also, Good Pods Podcast, Castbox Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast. I think I mentioned that. Diesel Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on GeoSavan out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. You can follow us on Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Weebot Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbay, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Prodigy, Podcast Republic, and the only one that used to scare me but now does it is allfees.ai. Give that some praise. The robots are taking over. We gotta learn to turn the robots off. What they do, they pass the debt ceiling. They passed it. They funded the government, and we all knew they would, but they just wanted to scare us. You know how many more people went out and bought some toilet paper? Because they thought the government was going to shut down. You can't eat toilet paper. If it was me, I'd go out. I don't care how stereotypical it is. I'd buy all the collard greens in the universe. If they shut down the government, you're not shutting down my collard greens. I want to tell you, you can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. If you better have a smart TV, or you might be sitting there looking at a still picture. I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. I do the commercials up front. Unlike a lot of programs, they run an hour. They'll have 4 pauses where they do 2 or 3 commercials each pause. I just do mine up front. I keep going and going and going and going. You know what I had for dinner last night? Let me finish. Because it's funny. I had some apple cider vinegar. I had some tuna. I had some avocados. And I had some watermelon. I know it's stereotypical. I also had some cloves. And I think I ate some collard greens too for dessert. You know you eat collard greens for dessert. Give that some praise. I love collard greens. I'm telling you, the stats are provided, the storytelling. I even do the play-by-play up to the line of scrimmage. 40-yard line, 4-man wide out, 5-man front. The snap rolling to his right, rolling right. Purdy throws downfield. It is caught. It is caught by Christian McCaffrey. Touchdown, San Francisco. Isn't that something? I said they win 35-14. I think they won 35-14. 15 or something, like 35, 16. I'm pretty accurate. Maybe I won't start 800 Gambler. There's a reason they have 800 Gambler. Everybody thinks they can just get one chip. You ever think I'm just going to eat this one chip out of the bag? You can't eat just one chip. You can't eat just one chip. It's not good to start 800 Gambler. You can't eat one chip, if that makes sense to you. And then the show's uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City. And I'm in Dimdale Hills, California, number 10. I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports with the crew back at Salem Media. Really do appreciate that. I love giving out a Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones. If you know anybody going through issues, you just got to pick up the phone. And you say, they didn't clone Tyrone, but they won't clone me. You got to pick up the phone. That's an inside joke. You got to pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give them some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. Really do helping our veterans. Got some work we're going to be doing. Oh my goodness, it's such a great opportunity. I just want to thank God. I was told by a pastor of mine, because I'm a praying man, and sometime I was praying for $1.4 billion. And he said, you got to focus. I want $1.4 billion. You got to pray. I've been praying. And then he said, you got to trust God, but also buy that ticket. Buy that ticket. I think I already won it. What else can explain? Oh, Lord, I'm loopy. I'm telling you, I have to have something to improve my memory. I had some tuna, I had 2 avocados, and it had some watermelon. And then I had some collard greens for dessert. Collard greens for dessert. You know that's country. At the same time, you're going to follow Big C Sports. I'm telling you, I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And some people were saying they don't like when I say reparations too much. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. They say faith comes by hearing. I also want to say congratulations, LaFonza Butler, Senator, appointed by California Governor Gavin Newsom, and obviously to replace Senator Dianne Feinstein, the late Dianne Feinstein. I want to say congratulations to her and the first black woman senator that was appointed by California Governor Gavin Newsom. And I tell you, there's a time in life that would not have been possible. And now, for sure, we're going to get reparations now, reparations forever. Give that some praise. We got to see. What did Dr. Martin Luther King say? The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I saw one of the United Auto Workers give that speech that Dr. King gave, and it's the truth. It is long and it bends towards justice. And the only people who have not gotten reparations is just us. And that's got to change, if that makes sense to you. I really do appreciate so many things about Big C Sports Podcast. I know we got a lot of college football to cover, but I want to be real with what I always do with Big C Sports Podcast, because if you can't be real, then who are you? I want to thank the Associated Press as we now make our move toward reparations now, reparations forever. I know a lot of other sportscasters, they're still afraid. They're still afraid, and I'm trying to get them to not be afraid, because being afraid is not good for us. We gotta always have a little bit of courage going forward. I see on the end zones of the NFL it says end racism, and it says on the other end zone it says it takes all of us. I wonder what the NBA will do. Maybe the NBA will start listening to more of the real meaning. The real meaning behind end racism. You know how you end race? I'm going to give a quiz. It's only one answer. The way you end racism, NFL, NBA, even Major League Baseball. I'm going to give you 3 seconds. What's your answer? 1001, 1002, 1003. The way you end racism is reparations now. Reparations forever. President Abraham Lincoln gave us the answer a long time ago. No more sucking and jiving. We don't need a speech. Don't even need an apology. You got to do what he said. You got to pay 40 acres. I don't want the mule, but the 40 acres would be nice. And the money that it equivalates to, if that makes sense to you. Associated Press, Janie Har, want to thank her for interviewing Big C Sports about reparations. A sports show about reparations? I said, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, well, why did you call? She said, because I heard you speak. I said, okay. I said, how can I help you? She said, I want to know your thoughts on reparations. And I said what every senator and congressman should say. Just say what Abraham Lincoln said. What did he say? Ready to go. Reparations now, reparations forever. See, it's not just me. So even when people say, man, you talk too much about reparations. Well, President Abraham Lincoln, he's the one that crafted the Emancipation Proclamation with the help of Frederick Douglass. You know who got that 40 acres of land and the mules? The Southern Confederates. You think they're tired of hearing about reparations and 40 acres? You think they're so tired of hearing about it that they're going to give all that land back? And the money that they made from loans and building houses and farming and the grants and going to a bank and say, hey, banker, I own 40 acres. The banker says, well, what do you want? He said, I want $1.2 million in loans. He said, you got it. How is that? Because he has the collateral. That collateral was meant for black people. And when we talk about this wealth gap, many of us right now going into basketball media day, all they want to hear about is, man, do you think you're going to make the playoffs this year? You think you're going to be a better basketball team this year? And many of those brethren, their ancestry, they do 40 acres. If not 40 acres, how about what 40 acres is worth? If an acre of land is about $30,000 an acre, times 40, that's $1.2 million, isn't it? You do that with factoring in the bank. You take $1.2 million to the bank. You know what they can lend? They can lend over $10,200,000. What would that do for your annuity? You got to give Big C Sports some praise. I'm telling you, a lot of guys, they just don't want to ask those questions. You don't have to give me the land. Just give me my annuity. That's $1.2 million with factoring. That's $10.2 million. Would that solve the race gap and the wealth gap in the United States? All it means is I got my receipt. I bought something from a store the other day. You know, I kept my receipt. I bought it 2 weeks ago, but I had my receipt. You know, I wanted to go return that product. You know what they said to me? They said, well, is anything wrong with the product? I said, no. Why do you want to return it? Because I don't need it. They said the magic question. They asked the magic question. The lady said, do you have your receipt? I said, yes, I do. I pulled it out of my wallet, and they ran it through the system. They said, okay, here's your money. You want it on the card? Back on your card, it takes 2 days. We can give you the cash right now. Shouldn't reparations be the same? I give it praise. It's not that complicated. We have a receipt. At the same time, I appreciate Jenny Hart for reaching out to me, because that's what our politicians need to start doing. No more second and jiving. And rumor has it, I'm hearing from many leaders in the African American community. They're saying no reparations, no vote. What does that mean? No reparations, no vote. What does that mean to the politicians right now that are getting ready to say, okay, we're about 13 months from the election now of 2024. So what we're going to do now is we're going to find all the black churches. We're going to go through all the black neighborhoods, talk to all the black politicians, and we're going to get them to have them vote for our guy. Well, what guy is it? The guy that's willing to talk about reparations. That's what I believe. It's like the parable of Matthew in the Bible, Matthew 25:14-18. Got a letter going out to Senator Marco Rubio. You know that right now they're dealing with the Congress to make sure that reparations are paid up for descendants of Holocaust. You can Google it. And we want to make sure they do the same thing for descendants of chattel slavery. Henrik Scott and all the other members out there who see the decency of reparations. I know most of our society, they're going to be hoodwinked and going out buying jerseys and T-shirts and hats as if that's going to help them. But they got a receipt. You know why Senator Marco Rubio is doing this thing right now? I'm not making this up, and I applaud him. Senator Marco Rubio and his colleagues, you know, they reintroduced the bill. They reintroduced it. They reintroduced the bill. For those of you who are tired of hearing about politics on a sports show, they reintroduced the bill. United States Senator Marco Rubio, Republican Florida, Jackie Rosen, Democrat Nevada, Kevin Cramer, Republican North Dakota, and Rick Scott, Republican Florida. They reintroduced the Holocaust Insurance Accountability Act. What? Usually when you hear about Florida, Nevada, North Dakota, or even Florida State, you hear about football teams or baseball or basketball teams. But this legislation would allow beneficiaries of Holocaust-era insurance policies to bring civil action in U.S. district courts against the insurer of the covered policy to recover proceeds due or otherwise enforce any rights under the policy. And then people say, well, that's a long time ago. But they're doing it right now in 2023. I want to give Marco Rubio some praise. And Rick Scott, too. They want the black vote? Get reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. That's black Americans. I'm telling you, if you're doing it for one group of people, you want to get the black vote. They're saying treat it the same way descendants of Holocaust have been treated. In the courts! That's important. I want to praise Georgetown. No, not the football and basketball team. Because a lot of our brethren, when they praise Georgetown, they treat it like it was the USC and Colorado football game. They got all of our celebrities showing up at the USC Colorado football game. And all of our celebrities that showed up for the USC and movie stars and Colorado football game, I thought they were showing up to see reparations now, reparations forever. But they still haven't learned. They're just sucking and jiving over sports. See, Senator Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, they're dealing with Congress to get reparations for descendants of Holocaust survivors. And then for black Americans, or descendants of chattel slavery, we have movie stars and entertainers showing up saying, who's going to win the game? Who do you think's going to win this game? Oh, what a game. Oh, look at how fast that guy runs. Woo! Isn't that crazy? They must laugh at us. So I'm asking these senators, champion for reparations for descendants of chattel slavery, because our own people, for the most part, won't do it. We're too busy watching sports and cheering athletes. And that's a fact. It's a shame, but it's a fact. Big C Sports is different. That's why I got called by the Associated Press and give that some praise. Georgetown University. Their plan is to pay us over $1 billion to 272 descendants of chattel slavery. All of our other people that don't have the right spirit, it's about good and bad. I talked to a wise, intelligent man by Ali Shabazz on the program last week, and he talked about decency, the humanitarianism. So if we can't get some politicians to champion for descendants of chattel slavery, but they're championing for descendants of Holocaust survivors, that they get paid. No one's complaining. No one's telling them shut up and stick to sports or shut up and dribble. No one's doing that. But our own people, for the most part, it's like we don't have a clue. And it's embarrassing. Because we got a receipt. That's why Senator Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, they're in Congress right now. They're not at the Colorado and USC football game to say, oh man, look at how good this guy is. You think this guy's going to be you think he's going to be a number one NFL draft pick? And those senators are laughing at our black men. Laughing! Because all we want to do is shut up and dribble. I remember when that lady for Fox News that was sued for $1 billion, when she told one of our prominent black athletes, LeBron James, shut up and dribble. Told him shut up and dribble. And a lot of our brethren, they listened to what she said. Because while Senator Marco Rubio is in Congress making sure our descendants of Holocaust survivors get their money, a lot of us want to come with our movie stars and our other high-paid athletes and say, man, you think this guy going to be a first-round NFL pick? You see the way he throws that ball? You see the spin on that ball? Woo! Look at how fast he is. And they're laughing at us. And they're saying, why won't our black men do the same thing that we're doing for descendants of Holocaust survivors? What Big C Sports is. And soon, other brave people will too. Because we have a receipt. Information given to me by 00 national correspondent of the National Black Wall Street Project. It's important. Strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. You know who that came by? You know how 00 got that information? It came from the United Nations. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a real cornerstone for the United Nations. And they say strong leadership and political will are crucial to ensure, like what Marco Rubio's in Congress over, to ensure reparatory justice, which is reparations, for people of African descent. That's the United Nations report, September 19, 2023. Geneva and New York City. It's an in-depth report from the United Nations, not Big C Sports. United Nations focused on reparatory justice for people of African descent. And when I saw the USC Colorado game, they're inviting movie stars and entertainers and celebrities, not to say what the United States said. I thought they were I got a little egg on my face because I was saying that more of our black leadership are going to start saying what the United Nations says. It says strong leadership and political will. That is crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. And we have a lot of people showing up at a college football game to see men who are, for the most part, not being paid unless they have the NIL deal. And they're just running up and down the field, scoring touchdowns. Deion Sanders makes $5 million a year. $5 million is a lot of money. But you know something? The University of Colorado, for those home games, you know they're making about $30 million a game with gate revenue, TV rights, media, merchandising, concessions. So they pay for his salary by the middle of the first quarter. And yet none of our black brethren will even say what the United Nations is saying. I guess when Laura says shut up and dribble, I guess some of us listen. United Nations is backing what Big C Sports is saying, and we still can't get our black brethren to do it. Well, you know, we don't want Massa to get mad at us. He only tell us to go play football. Big C, I don't want to make Massa mad. Well, how about do what the United Nations says? And that's the thing. It's right there. Just like riding a bicycle. At some point in time, we got to take the training wheels off. We got to take the training wheels off. And I know we love our entertainment. There's nothing wrong with playing sports. I think it's a beautiful thing. But can we do both? Section brought to you by T-Mobile, the America's largest 5G network. Big C Sports Podcast also brought to you by PNC Private Bank. It's so important. I just want to do that because that's who I am with Big C Sports Podcast, and that's my story. I just want to give that some praise. Love praising my family on my mother's side because reparations is so important. My beautiful great grandmother called her mama, beautiful, loving, kind woman, always making sure lots of love in the family, lots of food in the belly. And my great granddaddy called him Pop, from a military man and Negro League baseball player, could fix anything with his hands. Planes, trains, and automobiles, really do appreciate him. And then my beautiful grandmother, Mutt did, beautiful, loving, kind woman, a seer, could oftentimes look at a person and tell you a lot about their past, their present, and their future. And then my beautiful grandfather, Hezekiah, another wonderful person, could oftentimes talk about things that are past, present, and future, and they came true. And then I could always depend on my mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program, and then coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to the championship of the universe in an all-men's league. Isn't that something? A beautiful black woman in an all-white man's league, and we won the championship. I want to give my mama some praise. Always saying rise and shine, the best person I ever met in my life. On my granddaddy's side, on my daddy's side, my granddaddy Albert Curry. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. That's evident. On my father's side, My granddaddy called him Albert Curry, a pastor, 2 churches in Oakland, built the 3rd church in Central California with his own hands. He also owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, one on Bancroft, the other on Fuego. They were Shell gas stations. But he also owned what President Abraham Lincoln talked about, that our black leaders should be talking about today, even the president. 40 acres and a mule. My granddaddy owned 40 acres of land. He farmed on it. And then my grandmother, Alberta Curry, worked side by side with him, with the 2 churches in Oakland and the 3rd church in Central California, and then running the 2 gas stations in the Bay Area. But I remember 8 years old, I was walking through a hallway. I was tiptoeing too, about 10 o'clock at night, and I felt somebody touching my forehead. I had the lights off and everything. And she said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies?" And I said, "What are you doing up, Grandma? It's 10 o'clock. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "Oh, you going to get some more cookies, young man?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap to me, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." And then she touched me on my forehead. She said, "There's something about your voice. I love hearing you speak." She let me get one more cookie, but I'll never forget that. And now as I'm speaking about reparations, so is Senator Marco Rubio. So is Senator Rick Scott. But they're not doing it for black brethren or descendants of child slavery. They're doing it for descendants of Holocaust survivors. And there should not be a difference. There's no partiality in Christ. Should not be partiality in people. That's why some of our black brethren, it just take 5% of the time you're sucking and jiving on TV, kissing up and ogling over athletes, and talk about reparations. If the NFL is bold enough to say, "End racism," and we don't even talk about reparations, they're like, "Well, we're trying to get these black folks some money," and they don't even talk about it. They want to talk about touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. And we need to support our senators who are trying to get what's owed, because we have a receipt. And that's why I praise Senator Marco Rubio and Senator Rick Scott in Florida. You know, it's just my opinion, but I just want to do that. And then I really appreciate my grandmother. I want to praise my beautiful father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, always making sure planes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. Always saying, "Son, develop your mind to its highest extent." He made sure that jet airplanes for the United States Air Force would fly. Could fix anything. Love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Then my beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd was speaking. Always saying, "Go forward," a voracious reader. One of the best people I ever met in my life. And then my beautiful daughter Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors in 3.5 years. Beautiful, intelligent black woman. You know, she set up the very first interview for Big C Sports back at Salem Media. And from there, we went on for the first time in the United States, NFL Monday Night Football, which is playing tonight. They started broadcasting live on the Wall Street Business Network because of 2 black men in the crew. And then shenanigans set in, and as oftentimes happen, and the show went away. I didn't go away, but they could have still had us there. I still get the letter from station management, called us the Dream Team. They had never, ever had NFL Monday Night Football. And they don't have it anymore either. But Daisy set up that interview. She also helped me with college coaches come to the West Coast. You can be anything you want to be, Daisy. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. Always trust God. Pray Isaiah 54:17. That no weapon formed against you will prosper. Always believe that. It may take a little time, but always believe that. And then my beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, senior, very smart, erudite, a good man. Can be anything you want to be. Trust Isaiah 54:17 that no weapon formed against you will prosper. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get newspapers and look up stats for the Big C Sports podcast. And one day Malcolm said, "Dad," he said, "why don't you just Google it?" And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since. Now on 29 podcast platforms. That's more than anybody in the country. And on 4 TV platforms streaming. I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. I do my show with my higher self. I can do it with my eyes closed. I know this. I know my stuff. I'm passionate about it. And that's why I'm saying I deserve $6 billion. And I'm talking to God, and God knows it's true. And it's going to happen. I already see it. And I'm going to help create all over the world podcast opportunities for people. Give that some praise. It's happening now. I get calls from people all over the world. From Africa, from Europe, Australia, Japan, about Big C Sports. I'm not shucking and jiving. Saudi Arabia, it's coming. It's already there. I just got to align with the frequencies. So many times, I got friends, we talk about things and they show up. I just got to keep giving God praise, if that makes sense to you. And then, Ncaa, you can be anything you want to be. One day, Ncaa said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, you'll see your, say, play Big C Sports, you'll see your show come up. And that's before it was even on the air. Just like before that $6 billion was on the air, I started talking about it. Just like with the reparations, I was saying reparations now, reparations forever. And now, as some people say, Curry, you sound like a fool if they don't pass reparations. And now Georgetown announced in September they're passing reparations, over $1 billion pledge to just 272 people. I guess they sound like a fool too, don't they? That's before the United Nations announced on September 19 that Black Americans are due reparations. That's the chief counsel to the United Nations. That's not Big C Sports. They must sound like a fool. That's what I've been told, but it's not true. Marco Rubio, you must sound like a fool. You too, Rick Scott. Asking for reparations for descendants of Holocaust. And they're in Congress right now. As you're breathing. Are you breathing? So I guess I'm not a fool after all. I want to give not being a fool after all some praise. I know you want to know who won the game. And that's part of our problem. They're trying to give black men a layup. Like throwing a layup to a big 7-foot-tall basketball player right in the paint. And he's guarded by a 6'9" power forward. And he gets the ball in his hand and he dribbles out of bounds. All he has to do is go up and dunk. And he dribbled out of bounds. That's like handing the ball off to a running back that runs a 4.40. He's on the 1 yard line and he fumbles the ball at the 1 yard line. All he had to do is fall forward, he would have scored a touchdown. And that's what they're doing to us. And we sit there, yeah, man, you think this guy's going to be a first round NFL pick? Man, this guy has all the skills. He has the arm length. He can go sideline to sideline. He checks off his first, second, and third receiver. He can also pull it down and run for a first down. He's definitely going to be on the eyes of 30 NFL scouts. And not one word about reparations. Because we've been hoodwinked. While they're trying to get a few guys paid, how many guys from USC or Colorado are going to get drafted to the NFL? Maybe Colorado has 5 guys. Maybe USC has 8 guys that would go pro. But what about the guys that don't go pro? What about the guys with the receipt? Is Senator Marco Rubio in Congress trying to get descendants of Holocaust survivors drafted to the NFL? No, he's not. Trying to make sure they get their money. Well, we got to make that paradigm shift. It's embarrassing when they give us a layup and we fumble the ball out of bounds. It's embarrassing when they give us the ball on the 1 yard line and even at the back of the end zone, the NFL says, "End racism!" And then none of our black brethren will even say anything. Because they ain't got the guts. They ain't got the guts. If we had as much passion about honoring what President Abraham Lincoln did, the Emancipation Proclamation, as we have about our own team scoring a point in a game. I'm talking about the game. I'm not talking about practice. I'm talking about the game. I'm not talking about practice. I'm talking about the game. Isn't that something? If we had that same kind of passion to back our senators and congressmen and remind the President Biden an article that he signed, 13985, sent to me by 00, national correspondent of the National Black Wall Street Project. He signed it. Big C Sports didn't sign it. It's his first signature move in office. He signed it. And sometimes we don't even do anything about it as people of color. But Executive Order 13985 is on further advancing racial equity and support for underserved communities through the federal government. That's the White House. He's talking about reparations now and reparations forever. All we're doing as a group of men is concerned about is USC going to beat Colorado. What a shame. They're saying we threw a party for these people. They didn't even show up. They're at the sporting stadiums. They're at the sports stadiums. Hey, man, what do you think is going to be a number one pick? Who do you think is going to go first? Who do you think is going to win the Heisman Trophy? Even in their 30-minute pregame skit or an hour, they don't even take 5 minutes and talk about, we want to praise Abraham Lincoln and all the senators and congressmen and the University of Georgetown and the United Nations for their push for reparations and give that some praise. And then go be foolish. I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Our people got a long way to go. We show up at a concert. Oh, we show up at a concert! But we won't show up and support our senators like Big C Sports said. You can't say I don't. I do it every show. I ain't spending $1 on a concert. I don't care how many times they showed Taylor Smith. She should be talking about reparations. And that's a fact. They want to show her face on every football game. Why? You got end racism in your end zones. They don't have Taylor Swift in their end zones. They got end racism. Did she talk about ending racism? Did she talk about reparations? You ain't talking about reparations? Why would I buy your ticket? Give that some praise. And the NFL knows it. They put end racism on the end zone. And our black brethren won't even mention it for their shows. It's so insulting. It's like someone throwing you a birthday party. Your name is on the cake! And you don't acknowledge the cake. You don't even blow out the candles. That's sorry. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to get into a little bit of what happened. Got some Monday Night Football tonight. NFL football is big, obviously, but Monday Night Football got the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Giants. And at the end zone, you know what you're going to see? On one end is going to say end racism. It's going to say it. Oh, Big C, there you go again. Talk about ending racism. No, the NFL said it's on the end of their, unless they erase it, it's on all the end zones. It says end racism. On the other end, it says it takes all of us. And still our white brethren and black brethren, they won't talk about reparations. And the United Nations just told us reparatory justice is necessary. It's Monday Night Football, the Giants and the Seahawks. And the Giants are hosting the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. And isn't that something? Who's going to win tonight's game? Who will? Probably the Seahawks. I think they're the better team. But they're going across the country. It's a late start. And the Giants, they don't have the stamina, I don't feel. But I got to go with the Seahawks. They have Geno Smith. They have DK Metcalf. Saquon Barkley's not playing for the Giants. And the Giants are hosting on Monday Night Football. But I feel that this is a game where Geno Smith always finds the end zone. And he'll do it tonight. He enters tonight having thrown a touchdown in 14 consecutive games. What's that tell you? That's the second longest streak in the NFL to Patrick Mahomes. So my story is I got the Seattle Seahawks winning that game tonight by 8 points. 7 or 8 points? I'm going to say 8 points just because that's how I feel in my gut based on what I've been charting, if that makes sense to you. I also want to get on, before I get into more NFL football, the Ryder Cup, the European, they won, beat up the Americans. They didn't talk about reparations the way I thought they would, but they did say that Royal McIlroy had a champagne cork hit him in his eye. I hope he's okay. But be that as it may, I want to get into what happened in the NFL, the recap for what happened for NFL football. And I tell you, there's gold in Denver Hills. The San Francisco 49ers, they're a dominant team. They got a big win. But I'm going to just run down some things that happened that you already know that happened over the week. The Lions 34, the Packers 20. That was a Thursday night game. And I'm telling you, the Lions have a really good team. They're most likely going to win their division because it's not going to be Minnesota. It's most definitely not going to be Chicago, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They went across the pond, and they beat the Atlanta Falcons 23-7. They had a disgusting 20-point deficit to Houston last week, so it was not a surprise that they played with pride and poise, and they rebounded against the Falcons. I would have thought if you're going across the pond, a Falcon would have a better time getting there than a Jaguar. But boy, can those Jaguars swim, and they swim well enough to get the win, if that makes sense to you. I got two more games involving wildlife. The LA Rams 29, the Indianapolis Colts 23. The Rams won by 6 in overtime. but the Colts did not appear to have much of a chance for most of the afternoon. The Rams were a bust. They were up 23-0. 23-0. And then those good boys came coming back. They came back on them. But there's a player by the name of they should call him the Big Ncaa. The Big Ncaa, that good old boy, he's a scoring machine for the LA Rams. I'm telling you, the Rams have a good team. I don't know how they lost to Cincinnati, but they went in and got the win over the Colts, and they won it. What a walk-off, if that makes sense to you, at overtime. I got the Buffalo Bills. I missed this game. I was wrong on this game. I was wrong. I had the Dolphins. No, I wasn't wrong. I said the Bills would win, but I thought the Dolphins would cover the spread. I was wrong. I got the winning team right, but I got the spread wrong. So the Dolphins, they beat the crap out of they beat the crap out of themselves. But the Bills beat the crap out of the Dolphins. If a Buffalo were to fight a dolphin in a cage, if it's underwater, then the Dolphins would most likely win. Flipper would win in the water. But on the range, the Buffalo would win. The Dolphins and the Bills entered the game as the first and third ranked offenses in the NFL, and Buffalo was second on defense while the Dolphins were 17th. And it showed up. This is not the team that beat up on Denver 70-20, but they fooled a lot of people, and they got blown out by the Buffalo. Touchdown, Stephon Diggs is the real deal. Hamlin came back and played to a standing ovation, all fair in 11 war. Got the Denver Broncos. How about the Bears? Denver Broncos 31, Chicago Bears 28. Touchdown, Justin Fields has taken a lot of criticism this season, and he should have. The Fields has been bad doing this. He needs a better quarterback coach, or something has to get better. Chicago's off to an 0-3 start. This is not your 85 Bears. Not your 85 Bears. And then the Broncos, which gave up 70 points to the Miami Dolphins just a week earlier. They found a way to climb back in the winners lap, I guess you could call it winner's lap, and they got a win. Proud of Russell Houdini Wilson. He had a big second half to finish 21-28, 223 yards, and 3 touchdowns. His top receiver was Jerry Jeudy, 5 catches, 52 yards. At the same time, Denver's still not a good team, but they had a must-needed win over Chicago. The Ravens 28, the Browns 3. I missed that game. I had Cleveland getting that game done, but I was wrong. Good teams often find ways to play. Hold on. They said it's a bird. It's a plane. No, I'm Superman. That's Lamar Jackson coming in as Superman with his cape. Good teams often play above expectations, and I'm telling you, they're starting a backup quarterback because the players often give 110%. And of course, terrific play from the opposition can negate that. Cleveland's stellar defensive line, which had dominated in his first 3 opponents, it could do nothing to contain. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, I'm Superman. Lamar Jackson played like Superman. He plays with a cape, and they went in there and they got a win. I thought Cleveland would get that win, so I was wrong about that. I ate a little bit crow, and it tastes okay with collard greens. I got Tennessee Titans 27, Cincinnati Bengals 3. I was right about that game. You cannot go down into the South and have them offer you Gatorade. The Titans have a major weakness when it comes to stopping the deep pass. The Browns were able to exploit it last week, but it didn't seem like the Bengals would be able to take advantage because of Joe Burrow's troublesome calf. Well, Joe Burrow, he couldn't really get off good passes because he was sitting on his backside a lot. Joe Mixon didn't have a chance to run very much either because he only gained 67 yards on 14 carries. That's what happens when you're behind. Tennessee with a big win. Again, they have to have that win. Tampa Bay Buccaneers 26. New Orleans Saints 9. I got that wrong also. I picked this. This is why I don't bet. Sometimes I'm really good. Other times I'm batting 50 or 60%. There was question about Derek Carr playing in this game as Jameis Winston was the projected starter for most of the week. It was shocking to see that Carr was announced as a starter, but it didn't seem plausible that he would be 100%, and he was not 100%. Baker Mayfield had a decent game against those good boys. Not really the best game, but it was like the Saints played a bad game. Take nothing away from Tampa Bay. I mean, Evans caught only 3 balls for 40 yards. They drew an early interference flag set up in the red zone possession. His replacement was someone named Devin Tompkins, who had 4 catches, 45 yards, and a touchdown. Well, that's the way it goes. The Saints fell, and they fell hard. Philadelphia Eagles 34, the Redskins 31. What a game this was. No one but expected the Redskins, they actually called the Commanders. I beg your pardon. No one thought they would hang close, but they did. It took 34-31, and you got to give Eagles some praise. They're still undefeated. I like them. I like them a lot. But Washington, that's a better team than their record indicates. I think they're going to be okay. For the Commanders, Howell was a solid 29 to 41 passes, 290 yards, and a touchdown, despite not being a favorable matchup. He also scrambled 6 times for 40 yards. Washington has some things to do with that offense. I missed this game. Texas 30 and the Steelers 6. Devastating loss for the Steelers. Not only did they suffer a beatdown, they also lost several key players to injury, including Kenny Pickett. The second-year quarterback got hurt on a 4th and 1. Isn't that something? A 4th and 1. It can happen on any play. I'm not blaming the team. That's just the way the ball bounces, if that makes sense to you. But I was surprised that D'Amico Ryan's defense was shut up and beat up the Steelers' Mike Tomlin's defense the way he did. But they did it. Congratulations to them. Minnesota Vikings 21. Carolina Panthers 13. I'm telling you, anyone who bet that the Panthers looked like they could cover the entire time but lost it at the end, the Vikings 21, Panthers 13. Vikings are a better team. It's good to see Kirk Cousins get a win. Vikings right now still have a chance at their division, but I don't think they're going to catch the Detroit Lions. That's my story. If the Vikings had avoided turnovers, they would have blown out the Panthers. But Minnesota, they had a lot of mistakes that kept the game close. Carolina's young. They got to get better. But Minnesota, I picked them to win that game, and I'm proud I got that one right, if that makes sense to you. Also, other places on the range for the Cowboys. How about those Cowboys down in Texas? 38-3 over the New England Patriots. My goodness, Bill Belichick, what happened? Oh, they scored more points than we did. Yeah, they scored more points than you. But years of proof and evaluation part of Bill Belichick that come home to roost. Maybe it was Tom Brady and those great defenses back in the day. Dallas 38-3. Please, Dak, don't hurt him. That Dallas football team, Tony Pollard ran 47 yards on 11 carries. 3 catches, 13 yards. Lamb had 4 catches, 36 yards. Mac Jones, he was 12 of 21, 150 yards. And Colin Kaepernick still can't get a sniff. He can't even get a sniff. How about the Raiders? The Chargers. 24, Raiders 17. And the Raiders, they left Oakland to go to Las Vegas for what? It's rare to see the Chargers win a one-score game, but this victory, it came with some drama. It all started when Justin Herbert injured his hand and was stepped on by another player in the second half. But be that as it may, the Raiders just can't win football games. They got that early season win in Denver, and they just don't look like a good football team. I don't know what to say about it. They should have stayed in Oakland. Listen, Oakland A's, just because you go to Vegas, it doesn't mean you're going to start winning. That team doesn't have home field advantage anywhere they go. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. How about those Niners? 35, Cardinals 16. Brock Purdy has yet to lose a game in the NFL in the regular season, and it wasn't going to happen in this game against those Cardinals. I told you this golden dim their heels. He was 13 of 13, 190 yards, and his first incompletion, and his only one was the result of pressure from Dennis Gardeck. I'm telling you, Purdy, 20 of 21, 283 yards, and a touchdown. He also scored on the ground via quarterback sneak. McCaffrey, he was doing his thing. He had 106 rushing yards on the ground, got his chest in the wind on 20 carries. He also caught 7 passes for 71 yards. That good boy was scoring left. He was going right. He was going everywhere he turned. And the Niners, how about the Niners? The Niners look like the number 1 team in the NFL. That's Big C's thoughts. And then last night in New York City, the Kansas City Chiefs, 23, the New York Jets 20. That game actually turned out to be pretty good, and the Chiefs had to sneak by the Jets. But this game looked like it would be a lopsided affair. After the first quarter, the Chiefs went out to a 17-0 lead, and then somehow the Jets came flying back in. They came flying back, and they made it close, if that makes sense to you. But congratulations. I'm telling you, when you think about this game, Wilson didn't play as bad as people thought he was. He was 28 of 39, 245 yards and 2 touchdowns. But there's no place like Mahomes. There's no place like Mahomes. Touchdown Patrick Mahomes. Another reason the Chiefs just keep winning. He can make miraculous plays. He's been doing it all his career, and he did it again. Well, that's Big C's thoughts, and I'm sticking with it. There's no place like Mahomes. There's no place like Mahomes. I want to just cover up with a little bit of talk on college football, because I love talking college football, but I was wrong, because I thought they would have talked a little bit about reparations in the NFL, because on every end zone it says in racism. but no one talks about it. Not even our black athletes. But college football, what they did talk about, Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes, they fell to the USC Trojans in that horse. Now, if a Trojan is a warrior, why is that mascot a horse? Oh, fair never were. But what a game by Caleb Williams and Shedeur Sanders. They will be first-round NFL draft picks, but I still want them to talk about reparations. That's my story that I'm sticking with it. Also got Saturday matchup, did not disappoint. Number 20, Mississippi State defeated number 12, LSU, 55-49. Thought it was a basketball score. And then number 13, Notre Dame, they stole a win in the final minute at number 16, Duke. What a game that was. Everybody has their own thoughts, but I want to just talk about the USC 48-41 win over Colorado. A near epic comeback by Deion Sanders' Colorado team. It came up just a little bit short, but Caleb Williams, 6 touchdown passes. That good boy, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, he'll probably win back-to-back Heisman only the second time since Archie Griffith of the good old boys at Ohio State. You'd be nuts not to go with Caleb Williams, if that makes sense to you. The two top quarterbacks on the West Coast, maybe in the country, if that makes sense to you. Also, Michael Penix is good out of Washington as well. I got to run down some college scores as we're wrapping up on the Big C Sports Podcast. I want to hear reparations now, reparations forever. As much as we praise college athletes, it's only the right thing to do. That's my story that I'm sticking with it. We had number 1 Georgia with a close win, 27-20 over Auburn. I said Georgia would win, but they would not cover that 14-point spread. Number 2, Michigan, 45-7 over Nebraska. Number 5, Texas, 40. Number 24, Kansas, 14. USC ranked number 6 to some poll. I got them number 2, 48. Colorado, 41. They got to play better defense, if that makes sense to you. Number 7, Penn State, 41. Northwestern, 13. Number 8, Washington, 31. Arizona, 24. Number 9, Oregon, Stanford, 6. Number 21, Oregon State, 21. Number 10, Utah, 7. All the schools in the Pac-12, it seems like there's 5 programs ranked in the top 12. And that conference is folding? Why? Also got number 11, Alabama, 40. Mississippi State, 17. Number 20, Ole Miss, 55. Number 12, LSU, 19. I told you Notre Dame, 21. Duke, 14. Oklahoma, 50. Iowa State, 20. What a beatdown that was. Tennessee, 41. South Carolina, 20. And number 22, Missouri, 38. Vanderbilt, 21. Kentucky, 33 for the 14. Well, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. Also got the New York Liberty and Las Vegas. They're going to be playing the WNBA Championship. And that starts actually on Sunday on a local station near you, if that makes sense to you. Well, I tell you, I want to give that some praise. A lot of good things happening in the world of sports. And everyone has their own opinion about what they like the most out of sports. I think that sports is great because it brings our country together. It's a boys and girls sports. It's the foundation of this billion-dollar industry. And I do appreciate the fact that Big C Sports can be a part of it. I think so many great people that I've met along the way as we push for reparations, because it has to be something that I can't be the only sports guy talking about. It's for people, what they call descendants of chattel slavery, black Americans. And not many people talk about it other than Big C Sports. And you even got the United Nations championing reparations. Countdown to Human Rights Day. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a real cornerstone for the United Nations. This is September 19, 2023. It says strong leadership like Big C Sports and political will like Big C Sports is crucial to ensure reparatory justice for people of African descent. That's from the United Nations. Oh, there you go again, Big C. Talk about the United Nations. If we don't do it, and they're begging us to do it, Fox Sports not doing it, ESPN not doing it, CBS Sports is not doing it, ABC Sports is not doing it, NBC Sports is not doing it, TNT's not doing it, NFL Network's not doing it. Why are they afraid to talk about the United Nations? And they can't even get our black brethren to show up. Not even when they have a microphone in their hands. But it says it takes us. It says United Nations report focused on reparatory justice for people of African descent. It urges states to show strong leadership and political will in tackling the lasting consequences of enslavement, the trade in enslaved Africans, and colonialism. The report to the United Nations General Assembly by the United Nations Secretary General. That's not Big C Sports. I want to give them praise. Come on, people, don't be afraid. They're begging us to champion some reparations because they're ready to sign it. Ask President Zelensky what it takes to get $100 billion from the United States. He asked, you have not because you ask not. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. If you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off. But don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car when they've been drinking. The life you save may be theirs or your own. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, like you know what time it is. Back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, rumble, young man, rumble. With all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat, because listening to Big C Sports makes me more bold when I stand on my feet. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that crap, pick up the phone, call 911. Things change when the police show up. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Well, as I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super, fantastic day. And now, you know the tune. We honor America's 16th president, President Abraham Lincoln, when he said, reparations now, reparations forever. We honor Georgetown as they passed $1 billion in reparations when they said, reparations now, reparations forever. We honor the United Nations when they say that black citizens, African Americans, are owed reparations. When we say reparations now, reparations forever. Thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope you have a super fantastic day.